Growing a YouTube channel when you're working a stressful 9 to 5 that's consuming all of your time and your energy is extremely tough. Even more so when you're trying to juggle that with having a social life and also taking care of yourself. But what if I told you that it doesn't have to be that way? I definitely made it a lot harder for myself than it needed to be, especially at the start of my journey. And if you guys are new here, I worked in banking full-time previously, and for a whole year I was juggling that job with posting content on YouTube consistently. It was super challenging for me to juggle everything, and I was trying to post videos every single week, or at the very least 3 times a month. And from going through that journey, I discovered a lot of hacks and tricks along the way which helped to systemize my whole video creation process and helped to make everything so much more efficient. So in this video, I wanted to show you guys that it's absolutely possible to be consistent on YouTube whilst having a full-time job, and most importantly, that you can do so without losing your mind. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys all the tools that I'm currently using at the moment to speed up my whole video creation process, the exact Notion template that I'm using as well to systemize everything, as well as other tips and tricks that I wish I knew a lot sooner. Timestamps below as always because I value your time. My first tip is to work on things in little chunks. This is a concept that completely leveled up my productivity overall and not just with YouTube. And the idea is that you just work on things in little chunks throughout the day. When it was during the weekday and I was working, I really didn't have large chunks of time that I could use to sit down and work on YouTube. So what I ended up doing was just taking advantage of those 5 to 10 minutes throughout the day where I wasn't doing anything. So if I had 5 to 10 minutes in between meetings, then I would whip out my Notion and start scripting for my next video. When I was commuting to work, I would have 20 minutes of uninterrupted time where I would just be sitting or standing on the train, and I would just whip out my phone and start working on YouTube stuff. For some bizarre reason, most people tend to think that a chunk of time is only significant if it's at least half an hour or an hour. I'm really not sure where this notion came from, but I used to think that way too. And let's say, I had 10 minutes in between a meeting, or if I was waiting for the kettle to boil, then I would just whip out my phone and start scrolling on Instagram or something, or watch a YouTube video. Because I used to think to myself like, 5 to 10 minutes is so short. What can you even do in that time? The answer is a lot. And the reason is because these little chunks of time will accumulate throughout the day. For example, if you had 10 minutes in between your meetings that you use to work on YouTube, and then another 20 minutes during your lunch break, and let's say if you have a whole hour after work before you go to the gym, then that's already the equivalent of an hour and a half of time that you can use to work on YouTube. Bottom line is, don't underestimate the power that 5 to 10 minutes throughout the day can have. Next, I'm going to cover all the tools that I use to speed up my whole process. One of the most time-consuming things for me, and I think a lot of other creators would agree with this as well, is editing videos, especially when you're at the part where you're removing all those silences and awkward pauses and bad unusable clips. But there's definitely a way to speed up this process, and the tool that I'm currently using right now is Recut. And Recut basically automatically detects all those awkward silences in your clips, and you can just go through the video and just select which ones you want to remove. I used to take days or a whole week sometimes to edit one single YouTube video, but this tool has honestly sped up things tenfold, which means that I can then focus on other things to do with my channel. I do have an affiliate link with Recut, so if you do want $10 off of your total payment, then you can use the link that I'll put in the description below. It's getrecut.com/Tika. The next tool is ChatGPT, and this is so incredibly helpful for title ideation and script writing. To be honest, I used this a lot more at the beginning of my YouTube journey because I was really struggling with coming up with good titles and also how to structure my scripts. But now that I've sort of developed my own style and I know kind of what works and what doesn't for my channel, I use it way less now. But honestly, if you are a beginner or you're a new channel, then this is such a powerful tool that you can take advantage of. For example, if you want to create a video about how to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, you can just go on ChatGPT and type in, give me 20 good titles for a YouTube video about how to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. When you're stuck for ideas, this is a really great starting point. And usually for me, when I do this, I don't take what ChatGPT suggests word for word because the titles tend to sound a little cheesy sometimes or a little robotic. So what I'll do is look at all the title suggestions and I'll pick out phrases or words that I think sound really impactful or are powerful, and then sort of mishmash them together to create a whole unique combination of my own. And the point here is just to take inspiration from ChatGPT. I don't recommend you to just copy and paste. And you can do this with scripting too. So for example, you can type into ChatGPT, give me a script structure about a video on 5 ways to save money even with a low monthly salary. And then look at that, it'll give you all the talking points you need and structures it nicely. My next tip is to really take time at the beginning to systemize everything. And this part is super crucial because the way that you organize your channel and all your scripts and your content scheduling is going to determine how efficient you are on a day-to-day basis. So I organize my entire channel through Notion, which by the way, this video is not sponsored by them. And what I'm going to do right now is take you guys through the exact Notion template that I use to organize my whole channel basically. When I created this template, what I had in mind was I wanted it to be as simple as possible to use, and I just wanted it to be neat and organized and looked nice to me because I was going to be working on this document every single day. I've put a link to my Notion template in the description below if you guys want to access that. It's completely for free, by the way. And once you open the template, just make sure that you duplicate that template onto your personal Notion, and then you can start editing that version. The next tip I have is on outsourcing. And if your channel happens to be generating enough revenue, or if you have the means to, then I would highly recommend outsourcing certain parts of the YouTube work. You can pretty much outsource anything like the editing of your videos or the thumbnail creation, or you can even hire like a head of content to sort of strategize everything for you. With outsourcing, you want to identify these 3 things. Number 1, what is your greatest pain point and what do you hate doing the most? Number 2 is what are you not very good at or not very skilled in? And number 3, what is the thing that is taking up the most amount of time for you? There were 2 things that I identified for myself, one of which was thumbnail creation, and number 2 is on video editing. So the very first thing that I outsourced was my thumbnail creation. Nowadays, I do all of my thumbnails, but for a time, I was outsourcing it to someone else. And when you're looking to hire someone, you can definitely just go on Fiverr or Upwork, or you can do what I did and use my personal connections. So I went on my Instagram and posted on my story one day, hey, let me know if any of you guys are really good at Photoshop or photo editing, or if you know of any friends that are good at that skill. And yeah, one of my friends on Instagram replied to my story and said, hey, I've got this friend and he's pretty good at photo editing. So she connected the both of us. And then with each and every thumbnail, I would come up with a design myself and just like tell him exactly how I wanted it to be executed. I'm only now starting to outsource my editing, but I won't be doing this for all of my videos. I'll probably do that for every other video, or maybe just for one video a month and then edit the rest myself, but we'll see how that goes. And this arrangement works with my budget, and it's been so helpful in just giving me that extra bit of time in the week to work on other things on my channel. The final tip I have is to rest properly. I believe what's even more important than trying to be efficient with your time and trying to be productive with your channel is to take care of your emotional and mental state. Last year, I read this book on personal branding and how to be a content creator. It's called From Individual to Empire. But there's one thing in that book that really stuck with me, and that is the idea that you are a much better content creator when you are happy emotionally and mentally. The book cites this study where they found that when you're at positive, i.e. you're in a more positive mental state, then you'll be 31% more productive than when you're at neutral or at negative. They found that salespeople are 37% more efficient at their jobs, and that doctors were 10% faster and more accurate when they were diagnosing. It basically highlights how positivity can be the slight edge that you need to go from average to outlier, from just decent to an amazing content creator. And so my whole point here is that you need to schedule in rest time and fun time, because there's no point in you spending every waking hour of the day just working on YouTube and completely neglecting downtime, completely neglecting fun and your health. Because I'm telling you right now that you're gonna burn out so quickly that way. I'm gonna be very transparent with you guys and tell you that I've personally been struggling a lot with this. Just to give a bit of context, if you guys are new to the channel, I moved from Malaysia to Australia back in July. So I've been in Melbourne for almost 2 months now. And since coming here, I've been going pretty hard with working on my channel and creating new content. And the issue with me is that I love working on YouTube, and I can happily do that 7 days a week with no break. And sometimes I won't even realize until the end of the week that, oh shit, like I've not had a day off this entire time. Normally, you know, when you're working a job, you've got your Monday to Friday and then your weekends are off, and then you have that allocated downtime. But since quitting my job to pursue content full time, the whole concept of, you know, a weekend and a weekday is just completely lost on me now. And I realize now that I need to purposely schedule in downtime and actively structure my week so that I make sure, you know, this is my work time and then this is my leisure time. Because I realize that if I don't do that, then I'll just end up working every single day, like 8 to 10 hours every day. So I hope that all the tips that I mentioned so far will help you guys on your own content creation journey. I am planning to make more videos on this sort of topic, so do let me know in the comments below if there are specific things that you guys would like me to cover on YouTube tips or content creation as a whole, and I'll do my best to make those videos for you guys. Okay guys, take care and see you in the next video.